Daf Yomi, Tractate Sanhedrin, page 15b, top of the page. We were trying to discern on the previous daf, just as, let's see here, let's get to it. The Abai said to Rav, from where do we know that the phrase, also its owner shall be put to death, comes to teach that just as the manner of the death of the owner, so is the manner of the death of the ox. And now we're on 15b, top of the page. Why not say instead that it comes to teach that the owner of the ox is liable to receive the death penalty? Rava responded, if so, let it write in the same verse only, the ox shall be stoned, and also its owner, and let it be silent and not add more. It would be clear that the owner is also to be put to death. Since the verse added the explicit term shall be put to death, it is clear that the intention is to teach that just as the manner of death of the owner, so is the manner of the death of the ox. Abaye said, had the merciful one written the verse in this manner, I would say that the owner is executed by stoning. The Gemara rejects this. Would it enter your mind to say that he should be executed by stoning? If he killed the person himself, he would be executed by the sword, which is deemed a lighter punishment. If his property killed the victim, he could be given a more severe. Could he be given the more severe execution by stoning? Excuse me for a moment. Please excuse me for a moment. Into the realm of Hier gedeile. Okay. What are we holding here? Vidilma hai dekazach vana yumas leakuli ilave levuk b'sayim nechenek. Ani echnavadav nechenek mechavan elavadav nechenek kil. The Gemara asks, but perhaps this term and the merciful one wrote shall be put to death is to be lenient with him, to remove his sentence from the category of execution by the sword and instead to sentence him to death by strangulation. This works out well according to the one who says that strangulation is more severe than the sword. According to the opinion, there is no place for such a claim, as the punishment is certainly not more severe than that of an actual murder. But according to the one who says that strangulation is a lighter punishment, what is there to say? Lo sogadaitach dichsiv im kofer yushas alav. The Gemara responds, it would not enter your mind to think this, as it is written, if a ransom be placed upon him, then he shall give for the redemption of his life whatever he placed upon him. Exodus 21:30. And if it enters your mind to say that he is liable to receive the death penalty, that verse would not be understood for the following reason. But isn't it written, you shall take no ransom for the life of a murderer who was convicted to die, for he shall be put to death, Numbers 35:31. Since in this case there is a ransom payment, it is clear that there is no actual death penalty involved. Adrabah, mishum hi gufa katal ihu lo tizgele b'memoyna ela v'katola katal shoyroi li proik nafshe b'memoyna ela amar chizkiya v'chein tana dvei chizkiya amar kara mois yumas amakaratzech al retzichasoi atahorgoi. This line of reasoning is rejected. On the contrary, the additional phrase in the verse is necessary due to this argument itself. If one killed a person himself, it would not be enough for him to make a payment of money. He must be punished only with actual execution. But if his ox killed somebody, I would say he should redeem himself with money, but that if he does not pay money, he would receive the death penalty Rather, the matter cannot be decided on the basis of these verses, and it must be proven by what Chizkiah says. And so the school of Chizkiah taught this brisa. The verse states that he that struck him shall be put to death. He is a murderer. Numbers 35:21, from which it is inferred, you execute him for his act of murder, but you do not execute him for his ox's act of murder. Iboilahu Shor Sinai Bechama Migamar Shami Doirais Ayla Tashma Yetani Rami Baruch Yecheskel Yim Behema Im Ish Lo Yechye Ma Ish Be'esrim Mishloisha Af Behema Be'esrim Mishloisha. A dilemma was raised before the sages by how many judges would an ox at Mount Sinai have been judged? How many would an ox at Mount Sinai? What does that mean? An ox at Mount Sinai? At the time of the giving of the Torah, he explains it here. At the time of the giving of the Torah, it was forbidden to ascend onto Mount Sinai. That's really theoretical. Okay, at the time of the giving of the Torah, it was forbidden to ascend onto Mount Sinai, as it is written, no hand shall touch him, but he shall be stoned or shot through, whether animal or man, it shall not live. Exodus 19:13. If an ox did ascend the mountain, how many judges would be necessary to sentence it to execution by stoning? Who says judges have to, it just gets killed right away? Why do you have to? The Gemara explains the question. Do we derive a halacha that applies only to a specific time from a halacha that applies for all generations, and accordingly any animal that is to be stoned is judged by 23 judges or not? The Gemara answers come in here a solution from that which Rami Bar Yecheskel taught. The verse states, whether an animal or man, it shall not live. The comparison serves to teach that just as a person is judged by 23 judges, so to an animal is judged by 23 judges. Okay, Ha'ari V'Hazev, the Mishnah continues, the next thing is Omer Reish Lakish, V'hu She'emiso Aval Lo Hemiso Lo. Al Makasavar Yesh Lahem Tarabus V'Yesh Lahem Ba'alim. Amar, okay, Rabbi Yochanan Amar Afal Pi Shelo Hemiso Al Makasavar Ein Lahem Tarabus V'Ein Lahem Ba'alim. The Mishnah records a dispute with regard to the judgment of a lion or a wolf. Does this judgment require 23 judges? Reish Lakish said, that dispute concerns a lion or a wolf that has killed a person, but if they have not killed, then no, they may not be executed. Apparently, Reish Lakish holds that they have the capability of being tamed and domesticated, and consequently they might have owners. So, it is not permitted to kill them without due cause. And Rabbi Yochanan says the dispute applies even if they have not killed. Apparently, Rabbi Yochanan holds that they do not have the capability of being tamed, and therefore they do not have owners. Tanan. Okay. Wow. Tanan. Rabbi Eliezer Omer. Kol HaKoydim Nehogen Zacha. Bishlam Rabbi Yochanan Lemay Zacha. Zacha LaOiron. Ela L'Reish Lakish Lemay Zacha. Kevan Shemisu. Shavinu Rabbanan Keman Digamar Dinaihu Ve'asur Hana Ninu. We learned in the Mishnah, Rabbi Eliezer says, anyone who kills them first merits. Granted, according to the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan, what does he merit? It can be explained that he acquires their hides. Since these animals are by definition ownerless, whoever kills them first may take the hide for himself. But according to the opinion of Reish Lakish, what does he merit? Since according to Reish Lakish, the Mishnah is discussing a case where they have already killed, the sages made their status equivalent to those whose verdicts have been issued in court, and oxen that are stoned are items from which benefit is prohibited. Mai zacha l'shamayim. Tanya kavasid Reish Lakish echad shor shehemis ve'echad behemim v'chayas l'shem isu be'esem mishloisha be'eliezer oimer shor shehemis be'esem mishloisha U'sh'or behema v'chaya shemisu kol koidim l'horgon zacha bahem l'shamayim. The Gemara answers, what is the meaning of merits? According to Reish Lakish, it means that he merits according to heaven, meaning that he has performed a mitzvah by destroying a harmful animal. The Gemara relates, it is taught in a Braita in accordance with the opinion of Reish Lakish, Tosefta 3:1, both an ox that killed and a different domesticated animal or undomesticated animal that killed are sentenced by 23 judges. Rabbi Eliezer says an ox that killed is sentenced by 23 judges. But with regard to other domesticated animals and undomesticated animals that killed, anyone who kills them first merits with that act according to heaven. It is therefore apparent that the disagreement concerns only animals that have killed, and that, as Reish Lakish explained, the term merits indicates only a moral achievement, but not a financial acquisition. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Rabbi Akiva Hainu Tanakama, Ika Binayu Nachash. The Mishnah states that with regard to these dangerous animals, Rabbi Akiva says their death is decreed by 23 judges. The Gemara asks, the opinion of Rabbi Akiva is identical to the opinion of the first Tana. What is the novelty of his statement? The Gemara answers, the difference between them relates to the halacha concerning a snake. According to the first Tana, a snake is also sentenced by 23 judges, whereas Rabbi Akiva holds that all domesticated and undomesticated animals other than snakes are included in this requirement. Idanin hai shevet dechatamai ilema shevet dechal shechila tashabas ema dipali rachmana ben yechidim lemaru bin inyan navois rechavim bishar mat mitzvahs mipligi ela b'shevet Yehudach. The Mishnah teaches that the court judges cases involving an entire tribe that sinned only in the great Sanhedrin, consisting of 71 judges. The Gemara asks, with regard to this tribe that sinned, in what way did it sin? If we say that it was a tribe that transgressed most prohibitions, meaning that they desecrated Shabbat, this is difficult. There is a source to say that the Merciful One distinguishes between individuals and multitudes with regard to idol worship, as there is a special halacha with regard to an idolatrous city, an Ir Nidachas, but with regard to other mitzvot, does he distinguish between individuals and multitudes? Rather, it must be that the Mishnah is discussing a tribe that was subverted and which engaged in idol worship. Lememra debedina derabim didan lekaman v'lo k'Rabbi Yehoshua v'lo k'Rabbi Yonasan d'Tanya. Ad kam oisin irin indachas mi'sorav yad meo divrei Rabbi Yehoshua. Rabbi Yonasan me'avu boisu shevet. The Gemara asks, is this to say that we judge each tribe with the halacha of a multitude, meaning that an entire idolatrous tribe is subject to the same treatment as an idolatrous city? If so, in accordance with whose opinion is the Mishnah? It is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehoshua, and it is not in accordance with the opinions of Rabbi Yonasan, as it is taught in a Braisa. How many people in a city must engage in idol worship for it to be designated as an idolatrous city? From 10 until 100 people. This is the statement of Rabbi Yehoshua. Rabbi Yonasan says from 100 people until a majority of a tribe. V'afilu Rabbi Yonasan lo yikamar ela ruboi, aval kuloi lo. Amrav mas nahacha. And it is therefore apparent that even Rabbi Yonasan, who allows a larger community to be declared an idolatrous city, said this only with regard to the majority of the tribe at most. But if it was all the tribe that was idolatrous, then the halacha of an idolatrous city does not apply. Rav Masa said here in the Mishnah, and we'll continue, God willing, next Daf.